Hello, everybody from the Sports Hit List. I am your host of Dusting Off the Ropes here on the Sports Hit List. My name is Ryan Whitkin, and I have a big star on this episode of Dusting Off the Ropes. He is the Create a Pro TV champion. That's right, we have a champion on this episode. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the artist known as Jake Lang. Jake, how are you doing here today?
Doing pretty good, Ryan. How's it going?
I am doing wonderful. So, for people who don't know who you are or don't know what Create a Pro Wrestling is, just give a little bit of insight of who you are.
All right, so as Ryan said, I'm Jake Lang. I wrestle as the artist known as Jake Lang. That's my wrestling. So, Create a Pro is where I learned to wrestle. I've been there for 3.5 years now. Started about October 2020. I'd say I trained for about 8 months before I got my first match in 2021 around June of that year. And then since then, I've been on the indies and been Cap TV champion since October. And so far, it's been going pretty good.
He's been doing amazing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying that as to be a great host. I'm saying that because I'm telling the truth. This guy I've seen since the very start of when he was a different person, and he's just transformed, and he's just been putting on amazing matches against people like Bobby Orlando, Phil Cardigan, Max Caster. This guy is doing it all, and I'm very happy that I can get him on Dusting Off the Ropes here today. He's been killing it. Are you ready, Jake?
I'm ready. And once again, thank you for saying all those kind words about me.
Anytime, man. Again, it's just been amazing. I'm not saying this as a host. I'm saying it as a fan. Seeing the growth, seeing the transformation, it's just amazing, and I'm hoping great things to come for you.
And I appreciate it.
All right, so from the last time we talked, because I have talked to you in the past about 2 years ago. It is Dr. Cool J Clang. Dr. Cool, what's up?
What's going on, Ryan Dust?
You were known as at the time Dr. Cool J Clang, and at that time you didn't hold any gold, and now you're holding championship gold for Create a Pro Wrestling, the Cap TV champion. So going back from 2 years ago to now, how does it feel to hold championship gold?
It feels really cool. It's super special to have this opportunity, to have had the opportunity, and to have been given this championship and be trusted with it. And it's weird to look back because as you said, Dr. Cool, which was for those watching or listening, it was a previous character I had before I started doing the artist.
Dr. Cool. Dr. Cool. Dr. Cool. Dr. Cool.
It was I didn't hold any gold at that point, and then when I started doing the artist, the Cap TV championship came after about I'd say like 3 months in the character. So it's looking back at it, it's cool how I guess that character change was really worth it, but it's it's still a really honorable thing to have and to be champion for Create a Pro, for somewhere I've been training for since 3.5 years, and for the owners of Cap to have that trust in me to be able to have good matches with this championship.
You definitely put on some great matches. I mean, I saw your match with Bobby Orlando. It was just amazing. I saw the match between you and Phil Cardigan. That spear was insane. I mean, it was probably one of the best spears I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it was that was a once in a lifetime spear. I don't want to brag or boast. Is modest the word? Is modest humble, or is that like a modest, like you're being like a little bit of there we go. That's the first person. Sorry about that.
For those who didn't know, before we filmed this episode, I I was like, how far are we gonna get into this without cursing?
So yeah, where are we at? It's been like 15 minutes. Okay, that's even less than
5 minutes. Five
5
minutes and
minutes.
10 seconds, I would say.
It was weird because as I was saying the word, I internalized in my head. It's like, oh, maybe you shouldn't curse, but like it was already coming out. I couldn't really stop it at that point. In my opinion, that's probably one of my favorite spears I've hit. It's like, yeah, it's sick. Phil got an awesome jump. He like it was as much as his spear as it was mine. It was, but it's still a really cool clip to watch. It's yeah, it's never. I don't think it's ever gonna be replicated. It's a once in a lifetime.
No, it was just one of those spears where it was just like it hit hard and Phil got very up there.
Yeah,
That's what
it was like it's just as much his as it is mine. It's he leaped.
going back to the Cap TV championship, you have some of the greats of Creative Pro hold that championship. People like Chris Statlander, Slade, the person you took off of it, Bobby Orlando, who's growing tremendously. You're now a name in that list of people who've hold that title, and it's just amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a good list. I think I'm I think I'm like the fifth longest reigning Cap TV champion.
You've
So it's
held it. You've held
five
it
out of
since
seven.
October. Yeah, you've held it
5 out of
for
7. It's 5 out of 7. It's really up there.
and
Uh,
you never know. I mean, again, it's 7 right now, but who knows? 5, 10 years down the line, it could be 20, and you could be. You never know. You could be still fifth on that list,
yeah,
sixth.
it's
You know, it's amazing. But
that's
it's just.
true.
But it will always go down in the record book as you became Creative Pro TV champion.
Yeah, that's pretty cool being having your name in some semblance of history. It's always going to be on that always going to be on that cage match that record. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
cool.
Going now to again, we talked a couple years ago, and there's another thing that happened since the last time I talked to you. You became a graduate of Creative Pro Wrestling. You joined some of the greats of Creative Pro again, like former AEW World Heavyweight Champion Maxwell Jacob Friedman, former AEW TBS champion Chris Statlander. You joined greats like you got Bear Bronson. You know, you got so many greats, people who've even appeared on WWE television, AEW television, now TNA television. So being the only person, by the way, to graduate from the 2023 class, how does it feel to be a graduate and just putting all that time and work and knowing it got you far?
Yeah, it's a really great feeling. It's like up there with the championship. It might even be more than the championship. It's like it was such a because as you accumulate more years in cap or more months, it's you think about it and you really like I especially during that last year before it built up to it. It was like it was a really big goal that I wanted to accomplish because it's cool how Brian Myers and Pat Buck they're the owners of Creative Pro, the head trainers there, and to have I guess like a badge like what's the phrase I'm thinking of I can't think of it on the top of my head. It'll probably come back to me at one point, but to like have a kind of like a seal of approval from them as to like this person can he's a trained wrestler. He's good enough to be anywhere around the world and have a good match. Um, obviously getting better, but having that seal of approval from two trainers who have done a lot in wrestling is like it means a lot to me. So
It's an amazing accomplishment because you got to put in the work, you got to put in the effort, and you got to be the best in order to become a graduate of such a great wrestling training school in Creative Pro Wrestling. So congratulations to you on that. It's an amazing honor to get that, and I'm glad somebody like you got it because again, you put in the effort. I saw the transformation as a fan, and it got you very far. And now you're not only a graduate, you are a champion of Creative Pro. Brian Myers and Pat Buck have definitely trained a very good person right there.
Thank you, Ryan. That means a lot to me.
And by the way, to people who don't know, Brian Myers is former WWE superstar Kurt Hawkins. He now goes by the name Brian Myers, and you will see him on TNA television. For this next question, with your success at Creative Pro, you gotta be a big star, and I keep saying big star for a reason. You gotta be a big star to be on a poster at Creative Pro. So when you see the Creative Pro poster for the first time, especially for the for the past few months, I've been noticing, and everybody's been noticing, that you have been on the poster. So when you look at that poster, do you like what's going through your mind?
It's really cool. I was just about to drop an F bomb and say it was really effing cool. I stopped myself. Um, it's
Good.
really cool. I remember the first poster I had was with Great Heights from back in 2022, first half of 2022, and I was Dr. Cool at that point. But and that was my first poster. That was so cool. I mean, to be on, you see wrestling posters all the time, but to actually be on one, it's really like it's like a full circle moment from coming to a fan and then from being a fan and then making your way to being on wrestling posters. It's really, it means a lot. And the fact that I've been on the last several has been awesome. And especially this upcoming one for the 10th anniversary one, it's gold. It's like beautiful poster. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's
I saw it. It's a very nice poster.
it's it's sick. That's all I gotta say about it, and that's like really cool. And I'm looking forward to that show. Is is that all right? Is damn is that
Yeah,
legal?
damn was all right.
Right.
Ron Simmons has said it on television. We could say damn.
Damn!
So with this question, this is it's a nice simple question, but I think it'll be a little bit of of a thinking question.
Okay.
You've had a lot of matches, over the past few years. What would you say your favorite match you've ever had was? If it was with your old character in Dr. Cool J Clang, or now with Jake Lang?
Yeah, that is a thinking question. There are a lot of matches that come to mind that I have memories of, like my first live match, my first live singles match, um, some of my first live wins. My first match for the Cap Championship was a Fatal Four Way. That's up there, but I had a match with Dante Drago last October that I really liked. That's up there. Um, I'd say it probably would be the Cap TV Championship match with Bobby. Um, it was my first street fight, which is like chairs, kendo sticks, door spots, all that jazz. Um, it was a fun match, a little painful. There were a couple marks and whatnot, but the match was really fun. It was my first street fight. It hurt at times, but it was definitely worth it. As someone who like watches, I mean, we all watch WWE, but as someone who watches wrestling and like all these hardcore matches, it was really cool to actually be able to do something that where it'd be like a street fight you would see on TV is like when like a rivalry's at the end or rivalry like they're really going at each other and it means a lot. That the stakes are high in those kinds of matches too. So to be able to do something like that where um to have that kind of match with a really great crowd with a lot of momentum between me and Bobby, and Bobby is like, I mean, he's like genuinely like he's fantastic. I know you see his matches or like yeah, he's incredible wrestler. So someone it was a really fun match. Really happy with it. So that was probably my favorite. And then I'd also be remiss to say a couple years ago I had a 6-man tag that I teamed with Bubba Ray Dudley in, and that's a cool because he was a WWE
Oh
guy.
my
He
god,
wrestled.
yes, I was there
Yeah,
live for that match.
yeah, that's a wrestling memory for sure. That was
That
awesome.
that was a fun match to watch, and it was a very nice match. I think it was one of my favorite matches of the night. It was so good.
It was yeah, it's really fun to be able to have that match. It's awesome.
Just getting also to wrestle in a match with a WWE Hall of Famer, it's just amazing. And again,
Yeah,
they could have picked anybody to be in that match. They could have booked anybody to be in that match, but they chose you. And again, it just goes to show that they're seeing a lot in you.
yeah, it's really cool to have that kind of opportunity. I'm really grateful for that, and that was like, yeah, it's really a special moment. Even being there in the ring, it's like you feel like you're a fan again watching Bubba Ray Dudley make that entrance. But really it's really something else. It was highlight of the Doctor Cool era. It's yeah, so much fun.
It's
I
like
have nothing bad to say about it.
it's like you wanted to be a fan, but then you realize you were in the ring, and you're like, oh wait, I gotta go, I gotta perform now.
In that regard, it's kind of like a that's true, but like he had a long entrance. Fans were really hyped for it. Even
It
just
was
watching from the ring after me and
yeah,
Phil made our entrance is like, yeah, we can take. Please take this moment. Just sit with it and watch.
drink it
And that
in.
yeah, exactly.
It's like you thought you were in a dream, and you're like, pinch me, and then you realize, wait, I'm awake. It's
Yeah,
just one of those moments, and again, it was a very good match, and I anybody who's hearing this right now, go watch it because it was a very good match. All right, so now it is time for a little game I like to call word association. I know, not the most creative of names. So I have
it gets the
four.
point across. It
It
works.
gets the
Yeah.
point across. So I'm gonna give you four things, and I'm just gonna ask you, what's the first thing that comes to your mind, and just blurt it out. First word, paint.
Eat.
Paint.
Oh, paint. I thought you
I
said
I
eat.
wouldn't eat paint.
Ah, paint. It's simple. It's a method of expressing your ideas, your creativity. You can do whatever you want with it.
Canvas.
Mine.
Picasso.
Eh, it's interesting, but I could go with. I could live without him. Crazy about his stuff. Eh, not for
La-
me.
last word, Drago.
Is the best.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, I told him you were gonna say that. Yeah. Because
Good job.
I was like, there is a painting
was funny.
called
That was funny.
called Drago from 1927, and I'm like, watch. I'm like, so you don't know about the painting from 1927 called Drago? Unbelievable, and you're an artist. But that's a better answer. Drago is the best.
Is that what you were looking for? Because I've never heard of
I
this
was-
painting. That was
I've never either.
that was the first thing that came to mind. All right.
I'm sure
That's funny.
Drago will definitely be happy. By the way, if you don't know who Dante Drago is, Jake said his name earlier, but Drago is a professional wrestler that is also wrestles at Creative Pro Wrestling. So very good. And that's it for word association. And now we have, as a pretty much a tradition here on Dusting Off the Ropes, because I have done this podcast before, I always ask at least one trivia question. I usually do 5, but today we're gonna cut it down to 1. So,
All right.
Jake, are you ready?
I am ready. Last time
The,
on the
the-
original version of this podcast, I was very locked into the five trivia.
you were
So
very pissed at the end, though.
I was robbed. It was a
You
bullshit
weren't.
question.
You no. You weren't robbed. You weren't robbed.
Dr. Cole's here.
Whoa, what's happening? What's happening? What's happening?
Look here. Rule number 47. No schoolboy.
That is such. Rule number 47.
I was robbed.
You weren't
That was a
robbed.
tough question.
I gave you a question of a rule that you made.
That's out of there are 1,000 different possibilities. I'd go into detail, but oh man, I was thieved. I was thieved.
All right, so
I remember. I feel like I heard your answer, heard what you gave to like
The
Mike
thi-
Anthony or someone else, and I was like, oh man, that's so much easier
No,
than what I got.
the thing was, you kept saying like different possibilities of the answer, and you said like the correct answer multiple times, but I had to have like because you kept saying multiple answers. I said you gotta lock one in, and it was so hard to just keep a complete straight face. I'm like trying not to hint you of which one it is, and I think you asked if I can give a hint. I'm like no. I'm like it's the fifth question. It's the hardest question for a reason.
Yeah, it was a hard question. It was if I'm remembering this correctly, it was Smartmark Sterling. It was
Yes.
FWF. I was his manager, and it was the Smartmark rules match, and I had the rule book. So it really wasn't even the Encyclopedia. It was Smartmark's rules. It was more so.
Yeah,
It's
it
more
was
so a
something
Smartmark
like
question
that.
than a me question. Yeah.
Either way, it was one of the best moments I ever had on Dusting Off the Ropes. One of the funniest.
Yeah, I got pretty heated. So
You definitely got heated. Not even probably. You got heated.
not my proudest moment. Not my proudest moment.
All right. So here's the trivia. Of course, we had to theme this around art.
Uh,
It is art today. But it is
Christ.
it is professional wrestling themed. So, combine the two, and this is your question. Who is the artist who was with WWE for many years, who created many paintings for WWE of WWE superstars? WWE posted on social media, who was actually released yesterday, April 15th, 2024.
Tell you, until you gave that last part, I wouldn't have gotten it. It's man, I feel like I saw it. I saw it too. I'm not gonna be able to get the name. I don't know the name.
Do you want me to give you a hint?
Genuinely,
His
if you gave me the hint, I don't think I'd be able to get it. But what is the hint? Out of
his
curiosity.
his last name sounds like a food item or a food.
It's a guy.
It's a guy. His last name sounds like a food.
Did you know who this person was before they got released?
I've always seen I always saw his paintings and I've heard his name a couple times, but I didn't know his like actual name. I felt like I knew his first name. I just never knew his last name because his last name was like it's a little weird, but then once I realized it, I'm like, oh, that's actually not a weird last name. Like not a weird sounding one. But his last name does sound like a food.
Like a food. There's so many food. There's so much food.
Let's say a fast food. Let's cut it down a little bit. A fast food item.
It could be burger, could be fries. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even know is it like a canvas to canvas person? Those kind of videos?
Yes. I think that's he would post and WWE would post his paintings. It would be the fast motion paintings with the WWE Superstars theme in the background.
Gotcha. Straight up, I can't even with the last name hint, I can't get the first name. I have no idea.
What do
I
you
don't know
think?
who it-
What do you think the last name is?
I don't know. Is like what is it's like burger? or something.
His
Cheeseburger.
So the answer to his question is Rob Schamberger.
Rob Schamberger. All right. Doesn't ring a bell. That wasn't at. I must have seen someone else who gotten released yesterday.
He
But-
was actually released as of April 15th, 2024, which according to when we're filming right now, it is yesterday. So it was a pretty interesting one, and I was like, maybe he'll know it because it was in the news yesterday, kind of. But it was also had to do with art, and he has been painting for a long time. I remember seeing his paintings back then, especially like in 2017 when he would paint NXT superstars, and then like people like Asuka and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. So it was pretty interesting, but that is the answer to that question. And again, his last name does sound like hamburger. It's just put a shush in the beginning of it, and you get Schamberger.
Yeah, it rhymes with hamburger. That was a tough question. I'll give it to you. That was like I could have gotten it though. I've at least seen the video, so there was a realm of possibility. That was a good hard question.
It wasn't like an out of the blue question, like, oh, in this place in the world, what is this? What is this, or something like that. I combined the two of artists and professional wrestling, and that makes Jake Lang. So, Jake Lang, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day, taking time out of the Champs Day to have an interview with me. I really appreciate it. The Sports Hit List appreciates it, and we say thank you.
Well, thank you, Ryan. It's always a pleasure talking to you. You're a great friend.
And you're a great friend too, Jake. I'm glad to see the transformation, and I'm glad to see the growth of Jake Lang. And that is all. And by the way, if you are a professional wrestling fan here on Long Island or just around the tri-state area, see what shows Jake Lang's gonna be to, because it's gonna be a not miss match. He performs great matches, and you do not want to miss it. And it's especially good when you're watching it live. So make sure to come on down to whatever shows he is wrestling at. But also, if you're a professional wrestling fan in general, come on down to just professional wrestling shows. Have a good time. Hang out with some professional wrestling fans, because that's what professional wrestling is all about. Having a good time and watching some of the best perform.
That's what they say.
Yep. That's what they say, and if you don't say it, you're a mark. So, thank you for watching this episode of Dusting Off the Ropes here on the Sports Hit List. I am your host, Ryan Wicken, and again, thank you to my guest today, Jake Lang, and we will see you in the next one.